Hey guys, Jeff aka GCurse here. What you are about to watch it's another installment of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary. I'm going to be covering the case of the I-70 serial killer. However, I always try to I try to evolve the product over time, and I thought, you know what, let's evolve it a little bit more, so after the case wiki portion of this video, I'm going to I don't want to say I'm going to, I already did. I did a new segment basically kind of comparing the YouTube uploads of Unsolved Mysteries to the televised versions of Unsolved Mysteries and how they kind of differed between each other, basically. So this is actually going to possibly be a longer video, and that is why, because I'm looking at my information here, and it looks like both, because it's two parts of that new segment, and altogether it's like 25 minutes. So this is probably going to be a longer video. So I do want to say thank you if you watch this whole video. Thank you very much. It means a lot to me. But yeah, so I guess that's about it. Let's get on with the video, shall we? April 8th, 1992. Robin Fuldauer, age 26, location Indianapolis, Indiana. April 11th, 1992. Patricia Smith, age 23, location Wichita, Kansas. April 11th, 1992. Patricia Magers, age 32, location Wichita, Kansas. April 27th, 1992. Michael McCown, age 40, location Terre Haute, Indiana. May 3rd, 1992. Nancy Kitzmiller, age 24, location St. Charles, Missouri. May 7th, 1992. Sarah Blessing, age 37, location Raytown, Missouri. 6 victims, with the exception of Patricia Magers and Patricia Smith, who worked together and most likely had a passing friendship. None of these individuals had anything in common. The only linking commonality is that their murders were all near Interstate 70. Interstate 70 runs all the way from Maryland to Utah. It is believed that this is the act of a serial killer due to the similarities of the murders. The killer of Robin Fuldauer, Patricia Smith, Patricia Magers, Michael McCown, Nancy Kitzmiller, and Sarah Blessing was said to have reddish hair, lazy eyelids, and thin lips. It's believed that the serial killer known as the I-70 killer could have been in a trance-like state, or that he had something on his mind when people would see him in public. As of uploading this video, there has been no closure to this case. Worst case scenario is that the I-70 killer is still alive and traveling the interstates of the United States. Best case scenario is that the I-70 killer has been apprehended and is serving time in prison. It could also be that the killer is in poor health and no longer able to prey upon people because he is forced to reside in hospice or even a nursing home. Another outcome is that the killer may have already died without anyone knowing what the individual was known for. Either way, until this case is solved, you should be careful when you are out by yourself. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse. Welcome to another installment of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary. In this installment, we'll be watching the case of the I-70 killer. Honestly, I did not think I'd make it to this point of this video because I had to do so many retakes of the previous segment. I just kept fumbling my lines and everything. Oh my god, it was a mess. But thankfully, I have made it to this point, which is the point I like a lot about this series that I produce, because I like to give you my thoughts. And so let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, through the magic of editing, I have my headphones on. Let's get to this. 3, 2, 1.
Tonight we have a case of the utmost urgency. Someone is murdering young women in the Midwest. The authorities need your help. Please, watch closely. 26-year-old Robin Fuldauer of Indianapolis, Indiana, wanted more than anything to marry and start a family. On April 8th, 1992, Robin was found shot to death at the shoe store where she worked.
I just can't imagine the kind of cowardice it takes a person to walk into a business where somebody is trying to be nice and help people and everything, and then just utterly kill them, you know. But then again, serial killers are not known for, you know, being good type of people, I guess you could say, or they wouldn't be serial killers then.
23-year-old Patricia Smith and 32-year-old Patricia Magers.
This right here, this when I was younger and I first watched this, I thought that they were sisters, but nope. It just happens that they had the same first name, but it was just like totally coincidental that these two ladies were actually that they had the same first name, but they're not related at all. I was just like, wow, what's the odds of that?
They were both happily married. They worked side by side at a bridal shop in Wichita, Kansas. Just 3 days after Robin Fuldauer was murdered, both Patricia Smith and Patricia Magers were shot to death in the back storeroom of the shop. 24-year-old Nancy Kitzmiller of St. Charles, Missouri, had just recently qualified to join a government map-making team and was awaiting assignment.
Now, I can't understand what Robert Stack said right there. And I still don't understand what the word is, so let's actually do some research, because I was actually kind of curious about what he said. He said, I think it sounds like to me he said a government map making team, or something like a map where you put stuff down on it, you know. So let me just see if I can find out what he was trying to say. Okay, so let's do this and do this. There we go. And then we'll do this. There we go. Okay, so here we have the wikis, and we're going to check this out. We're going to check this out later, yeah. But first, I just want to see what he was trying to say. Government. Oh, map making. Government map making team. Okay. I thought he was saying something like mat, like I said, like a placemat. I'm like, what are you trying to say, Robert? What are you trying to tell us? Okay, so that's what it was. Okay. A government map making team.
3 weeks after the Wichita murders, Nancy Kitzmiller was shot to death in the boot store where she worked as a manager. 4 murders in 3 different...
Okay, hold on. I'm just going to show this image real quick. So as you can see here, basically, this is kind of like where they were killed. And originally, they didn't know there was like a similarity here. The only thing that it wasn't until that they realized that all these locations were near Interstate 70. That's when they're like, okay, now there's something here.
Different states, separated by more than 1,200 miles. At first glance, they seemed to be random killings. Yet each took place at a shopping mall just off Interstate 70 or a connecting highway. Indeed, there was a pattern after all. Raytown, Missouri, another link in the deadly chain. The Woodson Village Shopping Center near an access road to Interstate 70. On May 7th, 1992, 37-year-old Sarah Blessing was working alone in a gift shop at the mall. At 6:30 p.m. that day, a local auctioneer noticed...
The one thing that kind of makes me just kind of shake my head, and it's sad because all these people did not deserve to die. None of them deserve to die at all. It's like they were killed by some disturbed individual. Now, there are other victims that they believe that were victims, or other people that they think were victims of the I-70 killer, but they're not sure. So they're basically kind of focusing on like 6 to 7 people here. With the exception of one of them, which they're not, I think they were not sure about. But the ones that they just kind of mentioned here, along with this woman and everything. Sadly, I'm older than all of them. Not all of them put together, But like each of them, each individually one of them, I think I was older than them all. You know, like it's like that's sad that somebody who was only, let's see here, that was only 11 at the time when this was going on. I am now technically older than all of them by the time they died. It's kind of stark, you know, like a stark awakening, I guess you could say.
A stranger walking into his auction house. The stranger looked around briefly, then walked out again. Tim Hickman, who owned a video store next to the gift shop where Sarah Blessing worked, took notice as the man crossed the parking lot and passed by his store. Minutes later, Tim heard a loud pop that sounded like a gunshot. He reached his front door just as a man was disappearing around the corner. Right away, it registered with Tim Hickman that this was the stranger he had just seen. A grocery clerk collecting shopping carts also noticed the stranger. She watched as he climbed the embankment to an Interstate 70 access road.
Well, that's not normal. If I saw that, I'd be wondering, like, what's going on here.
And vanished. Meanwhile, Tim Hickman grabbed a portable phone and went next door to the gift shop.
I kind of looked in through the door, and I didn't see anything. And I was calling, ma'am, ma'am. And I stepped forward a couple of more steps, and then I sent her legs sticking out of the other room.
You know, to die such a needless death, that's truly what's, you know, like what is really bad, because this lady, she most likely had family. She didn't deserve this, you know, like. What I don't get is, why is it that serial killers go after the good, innocent people, yet that there are fucking criminals just walking the streets and they don't kill them, but they kill the good guys? You know, like I don't understand that mentality at all. You want to be a serial killer? Okay, fine. Why don't you kill like some other killers, or why don't you kill like child pedophiles or drug dealers? Why do you kill the people that literally did nothing to anybody? That just drives me nuts.
Sarah Blessing lay lifeless in a pool of blood. Tim Hickman immediately called the police. In no time, the Raytown tragedy was connected to the earlier shopping mall killings. A multi-state task force was formed. Ballistics tests confirmed that all 5 women had been killed with the same gun, most likely a semi-automatic .22 caliber pistol. That gun was also linked to the murder of another victim, this one a man. On April 27, 1992, 40-year-old Michael McCown of Terre Haute, Indiana, had been killed in a shopping mall ceramics store near Interstate 70.
Okay, so once again here, let's just do this. So as you can see here, they're slowly, you know, kind of showing the progression of where these people were and everything when they were killed. And like I said before, what's the commonality here? I-70.
There were now 6 victims. The most promising lead came from Wichita. Police believe the killer had chosen the bridal shop there because he thought only a single female clerk was in the store.
Hi, can I help you?
Stay calm.
What do you
Stay
want?
calm. Let's just walk in the back room.
I've got money. Do you want money? Anything you want.
He was probably surprised to find 2 women on duty.
Are you the only one here? Is
Yes.
everybody else here?
No, nobody else here.
Where's your cash register?
It's over there. You can have
We're
whatever you
just going
want.
in the back room. I'm just going to tie you up, all right?
Please don't.
The moment that he said that he was just going to tie them up, that was like, that's it right there. You know, ultimately it was not going to end good for these poor ladies. I can't help but think nowadays, with the proliferation of security cameras and everything, I don't think that this would last that long. I don't think that you would have something like this that would last as long as it did. I think that the killer could kill 1 or 2 people, or maybe 3 or 4. But I think with the, like I said, the widespread use of security systems, I think honestly he would have been identified at least within the first few murders.
Curtis.
Calm down.
You can have the money.
Just do what he says.
That's right.
Moments later, a customer arrived to pick up a cummerbund for his tuxedo.
I am a firm believer that serial killers ultimately will do something and fuck up. This, for this guy, is that moment.
Hello?
He had no idea that Patricia Smith and Patricia Magers had just been shot.
Anybody here? Hey. Hey, man, I don't know what's going on here, but I need to
Wait a minute. I want you to come in the back room with me.
I would have been like, fuck you, I'm not going to no back room with you. I'd rather be shot facing him down and then, be marched into some room where I'm executed with my back to him. Fuck no. You kill me, you're going to have to fucking put up a good fight.
Look, man, I can't
What are you
go
doing?
in the...
What are you doing?
I just
I told
need
you to come in the
get-
back room.
Nope, you can go get fucked. I'm not going to that back room with you.
Hey, man, I can't come in the back room. I just want to get out of here. I didn't see nothing. I don't know nothing that's going on here. I just want to...
Shut up and get the hell out of here then, and don't call the cops.
Inexplicably, the killer let the eyewitness go free. A short time later, he called the police.
And I'm wondering, why would the killer do something like that? Why would he make such a fuck up like that? He already killed 2 people. It's clear this guy doesn't have a problem shooting people. The guy already killed 6 people. The only thing I can figure is maybe he got over his too egotistical. He thought, well, don't you fucking call the cops. I'm wondering if he actually thought that, by saying that customer would actually be like, oh God, I'm never going to call the cops. I think his ego got a hold of him that one time, and it was like a colossal fuck up.
Using his description,
Let me continue on with that previous train of thought. I'm just, like I said, I'm shocked he just did not shoot the guy right then and there. He doesn't have a problem shooting people, and the fact is, it was already at nighttime when the murder of those 2 ladies happened. It looked like that parking lot was also somewhat empty, so I really don't think that he had much that he really needed to worry about. The fact that he basically let this guy go kind of goes to show his ego and everything.
as well as those of the Raytown eyewitnesses, the police artist came up with this composite drawing of the I-70 killer. The suspect is between 5 feet 8 inches and 6 feet tall, weighs around 170 pounds, and seems to be 35 to 40 years old. He has reddish hair and a high forehead, and what witnesses describe as lazy eyelids. According to each of the eyewitnesses, the suspect was neatly dressed and clean cut. He appeared to be almost in a trance, as if he were thinking of something else.
It's important for the audience to know that a serial killer never stops. They may stop for a period of time, but they never stop completely, and they will always start up again. So we're trying to find this person and stop this person before we have 6 more.
Now, tragically, there are 7 victims. After we filmed this story, the murderer apparently struck again, killing a young woman in Arlington, Texas. Although the bullet this time did not come from the same gun, the MO is so similar that police are virtually sure it's the same man.
Now the question is, because I looked just prior to starting to record this, and I don't think I-70 runs through Arlington. Does I-70 run through Texas? Oh, it does. Yes, I-70 runs through Texas. It begins at New Mexico state line in Farewell and ends in Oklahoma state line. In Texas, enters at Texaco concurrent with US 60 and US 84. Oh, hold on. You can't even see that. Sorry, guys. Oh, crap. Hold on. There you go. US 60 and US 84, and runs through various cities continuing its journey. All right, let's see. Does I-70 run near Arlington, Texas? Yes, I-70 runs near Arlington, Texas. God damn, I hate it when it does that. It is a major east-west highway that passes through several states, including Texas, and connects to major metropolitan areas such as Dallas, Fort Worth. Arlington is located along I-70, making it a significant route for travelers heading to these cities. Because when I last looked up, I basically asked, like, where does it run? Let's see. Where does I-70 run in the United States? I'm not sure if that's exactly what I said, but see here. Yeah, it starts off. See here. Starting near I-15 near Cove Fort, Utah, and it ends in I-695 Maryland Route 570 in Woodlawn, just outside of Baltimore. So I just figured, oh, it went east or west to east. I didn't know that it actually goes down into Texas. Wow. The stuff you learn when you're doing these kind of videos. Am I right?
Once again, the suspect is between 35 and 40 years old, 5 feet 8 to 6 feet tall, with reddish or sandy hair and thin lips.
Okay, so that was actually the case of the I-70 serial killer. It's actually quite amazing what you can learn when you're kind of like doing something like this, where you research what you hear. Because like I said, I originally thought that it just went west to east or east to west. And when I was doing research to get ready to record this, I was looking at the list because they had some additional people, which I'm going to cover in the next segment. But I thought, well, those people were like one of the people's in Texas. And I didn't think that I-70 went down in Texas, but apparently it does. It does. So I was wrong, you know. So let's get over to the case wiki, shall we? Okay, time for the case wiki. Basically, if you are new to this series, I always say this, just like kind of just a forewarning. I get not forewarning makes it sound like I'm gonna do something bad. Here, let me move this. This is just basically like a announcement, like what it is I'm going to be doing next, I guess you could say. Basically, I go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki, and I look up the case that we just watched. Let's see here. Let's do this. Boom. Ooh, let's turn it to black. There you go. There you go. That's a little bit better. Okay, and then we will do this. And there you go. So basically, I go to the Unsolved Mysteries wiki and I look up the case to see if there's been any sort of update, basically. When I say update, I mean that wasn't on the show itself. This case was originally aired like in 1992, I think it was. So we have quite a long time. Hopefully that there's, you know, some update, but I already kind of read it. But anyway, so let's continue on, shall we? Okay, so the I-70 killer here. Let's zoom in. There you go. A real name. Hold on. There it goes. Real name unrevealed. None known aliases. He is wanted for murder. He's been missing since May 7th, 1992. We already know the case details, so I'm going to kind of pass through that. What I'm going to talk about at length is the I think it's the suspects portion. Wow, there's a lot of stuff here. Okay, so extra notes. This case first aired on the May 4th, 1990. Oh, sorry, it was the 1994 episode. 1994 episode. It was also profiled on America's Most Wanted, Dark Minds, and People Magazine Investigates. It is not to be confused with the I-65 killer or the I-70 strangler. It's actually, there you go. All right, crap, it did it again. Oh, wrong way, Jeff. Up. There it goes. Some sources state, some sources state that Sarah was shot at 6:15 p.m. and that the auctioneer saw the killer at 6 p.m. and that Mick was killed at 4:30 p.m. Now, this is what I'm going to kind of really read into because they talk about a few more possible victims. Okay. Let's get on with it, shall we? Results. Wanted. After Unsolved Mysteries filmed the story, the killer apparently struck again on November 1st, 1993. 22-year-old Amy Vess was working alone at Dancer's Closet, a dancewear shop in Arlington, Texas. The shop was located just off of Interstate 35. Although she had the day off, she agreed to come in. That afternoon, a man entered the store and shot her twice in the head. After he left, she was able to crawl to the phone and call 911. She was barely able to speak because of her injuries. 911 operators were unable to understand her. Once paramedics arrived, Amy was able to let them know that she had been robbed and shot by an unidentified man. She was rushed to the hospital. Sadly, she died the next day. Only a small amount of money was missing from the shop. Although a different gun was used in that murder, also a .22, the MO was similar to that police. Was so similar that police were virtually sure that it was the same killer. Soon after, hold on, let me scroll this up a little bit. Soon after, police linked the killer to another murder and an attempted murder alongside Interstate 35 and 45 in Texas. And this is kind of like when I was talking in the previous segment. I'm like, really? I don't think that these are the same, done by the same killer, because I didn't think that Interstate 70 went into Texas. So now that I know that it actually does, I'm like, okay, well, maybe that, maybe it's more plausible, I guess. 51-year-old Mary Glasscock ran a store called Emporium Antiques, etc. at 4708 Bryce Avenue in Fort Worth. The store was in a strip mall area, about 6 blocks from Interstate 35. On September 25th, 1993, a year after Sarah's murder and a month before Amy's, Mary Ann was killed while she worked alone in the store. A friend came to visit that afternoon and found her body on the floor between the kitchen and another back room. She had been shot once in the back of the head. Execution style. Only a small amount of money was missing. Have you noticed that's what that the killer likes to do? He likes to shoot them in the back of the head. Why? Because he's kind of cowardly like that. Yeah, he doesn't have a problem shooting people, but he prefers them to not look at him. I think it's an issue of him feeling shame, possibly. It's like, it's easier to shoot somebody in the back of the head if they can't see you. That way they can't pass judgment on you. But if they're not looking at you and he's behind them, it's more, he has more control over it. And it's like, well, they'll never be able to look at me that way, like, if that makes any sense. Let's see here. Let me see. Okay, 35-year-old Vicky Webb, Webb owned the Alternate Gift Shop, a small store in the Rice Village shopping district in Houston. It was located less than a mile south of Interstate 69, which intersects with Interstate 45. At 10 a.m. on June 15, 1994, she opened her store. She was working alone. Shortly after opening, a man entered. The two talked for about 20 minutes. They discussed merchandise, business patterns, and customer traffic. When another customer entered, the man left, promising to come back when the other customer left. The man returned. He told her that he was supposed to meet his niece there and said she would like the store. He repeatedly looked out the window. Vicky assumed that he was looking for his niece. He also walked around the store looking at different items. A few minutes later, the man asked to see a copper frame. Vicky came out from behind her counter, picked up the frame, and turned to go back to the counter. As she turned, he shot her in the head. She fell on the floor, conscious but not moving. The man jumped over her and went through the cash register, taking about $100. This is the one thing that kind of made me kind of scratch my head. The I-70 killer, at least from what the testimonials basically say, this guy was kind of in and out. Like the robbery with the two ladies at the bridal shop. He killed, he got in, took them to the back, killed them, and he was on his way. Oh God, I can't recall that one woman's name. Oh well. But he went in, took her to the back room, shot and killed her. He was on his way. This case here with the $100, he was there a lot longer. He was literally pacing around the store and everything. I'm not sure if it's the same guy, because it doesn't. You would think that he would just want to kill her and go on the way, yeah. But then again, that's just, that's just basically how I see it. He also went into the back room of the store. She played dead, hoping he would leave. He did, only to return shortly afterwards. He rolled her over, dragged her behind the counter, and pulled her pants down. This is not sounding like the same guy. The previous murders, he took a small amount of money. And yeah, he took them like to a back room. But pull her pants down, it makes me think that even though I can't recall, I'm going to read it further, but to pull her pants down indicates possibly he may not have, but it could indicate like a possible sexual motive, He put the gun to her forehead. However, it jammed and he laughed. After hearing sounds next door, he left. See, he spent too much time there. That's what really, really kind of makes me think that this was a different killer. The I-70 killer, the red-haired guy, he was more like in, out, shoot, out, Let's see here. After hearing sounds, he left. About 15 minutes later, a couple entered the store. They found Vicky and called for help. Vicky was paralyzed from the neck down, and was having trouble breathing. She was rushed to the hospital. The bullet had lodged between the second and third vertebrae at the bottom of her head. Miraculously, she was saved by an anatomical fluke. She did not know she had an abnormally large spinal column, which, after 3 months of rehabilitation and surgeries, she was able to walk again. She described her assailant as in his mid-30s, about 5'8", thin, almost gaunt, and tan, with a weathered look. Based on his appearance, she believed he worked somewhere outside. He had long, shaggy blonde hair. I'm really kind of wondering about this killer and the I-70. Now, let's see here. Shaggy blonde hair. Now, when was the, oh, here, let me do this. When did this happen? Does it say what the date was? 1994. And then the last kill that they mentioned in the show. I think it was 1992. Okay, well, if it was 1992, then, it was 2 years roughly. Then, that could, the guy could have had his hair could have grown out, I guess. But still, they said shaggy blonde hair, and the guy that was doing the I-70 killings had short, reddish colored hair, so. He was wearing a beige old-time cardigan sweater and brown cowboy roper boots. He walked bow-legged. She thought he looked like a jockey. When she was shown a sketch of the I-70 killer, she saw a likeness to the man who shot her. Authorities have yet to determine whether or not the Texas shootings were committed by the I-70 killer. No physical evidence links the crimes. Texas authorities do not believe they are related. Authorities investigating the I-70 killers, on the other hand, believe they are linked. They note that the I-70 cases, all of the Texas victims were clerks shot in the head. Overall, there were many similarities between the two sets of crimes. They also suspect the killer may have switched to a different weapon due to publicity surrounding the case. Authorities have continued to investigate the case over the years. Hairs and fibers, among other evidence, have been analyzed by the FBI using new technology. In May 2012, the St. Charles Police Department released information about the gun used in the I-70 murders. It was most likely an Irma Worke E22, an antique German handgun. However, an Intratec Tech 22, also known as a Scorpion, has not been ruled out. Let's see here. Let me just kind of mark this. The reason I want to do some quick research and just to show people, one of the people said that the gun jammed. Let's see here. It was the case with, sounds like it was the case with Vicky. So hold on, crap, did it take off my spot that I saved? MTech? I think that's what it's called. MTech. Oh no, let's do Scorpion. Let's see, or piano. Scorpion, there we go. Oh, it's Irma. Sorry, Irma Worke. Now I'm just kind of curious about, I did some quick research before about if the gun's jammed or not. So I just want to kind of show off, Let's see here. Irma. How often does the jam? The Irma Workay E22 is a rare firearm, estimates suggesting that only 300 units were produced. While specific jamming frequency data is not available, the rarity of it shows that it may not jam frequently due to a slow production. Let's see here. I thought I said something different. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. Is the prone to jamming? Not prone to jamming. I'm wondering. I'm wondering if this is the. I'm wondering if this gun, the Irma Workay E22, I'm wondering if that's the I-77 killers. And because now let's do this. Let's see here. Is the. What was it called again? Hold on, let me. Because I looked it up and they said that this gun was prone to jamming. Is the. Known to be prone to jamming issues. Sorry. And it talks about how, particularly when chambering the first round or using certain magazines, users have reported that the factory magazines can cause jams. And some have suggested using standard 1022 magazines as a potential fix. Additionally, there are concerns about the bolt and firing pin being too soft, which can lead to jamming and firing pin problems. I'm wondering if the Texas killer was using the Tech 22 because they said it jammed, whereas the I-70 killer, whereas the I-70 killer was using the Irma Workay E22. But that's just me. I don't know that much about firearms, so that's just a theory I have, Okay. Let's see, where did I leave off? Has not been ruled out. The ammunition was a CCI, I think that's I, or it's either CCI or CC1 or L or brand 22 caliber long rifle with copper clad lead bullets. The bullet casings had been rubbed with corundum and jeweler's rogue. Jeweler's rogue is used to polish and feed the ramp is used to polish and all right. Let's try that again, shall we? Jeweler's rogue is used to polish the feed ramp on a semi-automatic weapon so that the bullet will slide easily into the chamber. It is also possible that the killer lived or worked somewhere where grinding or polishing was performed. On October 21st, 2000, or October 20th, October 2021, sorry. The St. Charles Police Department released an age-progressed composites of the killer shown above around the same time. Let's see here. Let me see if I... Let's just scroll up here. Where's this picture at? Okay, these are the victims. Okay, I'm wondering. Okay. So they're referring to this up here. Okay, I-70 killer. Okay, here's the age progression of the killer. Okay, this is the gun I think that the I-70 killer used. And this is the one I think that the Texas killer used that jammed. Okay, so let's scroll back down now. Okay, hold on. Okay. Let's see here. Around that same time, Terre Haute police announced that they were looking at the killer as a suspect in the murder of Billy Brosman. At about 6:30 p.m. on November 30th, 2001, a man entered the 7th and 70 liquor store liquor store on Raytown Road in Terre Haute and shot Billy to death. Hold on, that's weird. I was hoping that would keep the arrow. Okay, I guess arrow has to be down there. A security camera showed that the killer entered the store, grabbed some beer, then approached the counter. Once there, he pulled out a gun. Billy gave him the cash register, which he... Fuck. Hold on. I gave him the cash register, which he took some money from. He forced Billy into the back of the store, where he shot him once in the back of the head. He then ran from the store, leaving the beer and most of the money behind. I would say that he used the beer to get Billy off, catch him off guard. Because, people buying beer is, like the purpose of that store. Billy may have, he may have got that to get Billy off guard to the point that Billy wouldn't think that he was a threat. He put the beer down. Most likely he put the beer down. And as Billy was reaching for the beer to, to ring it up, that's when he pulled out the pistol. The fact that he left the majority of the money behind, okay, and he left, and I don't think he even cared about drinking. I think he used a beer as like a tactic, basically. Okay. Hold on. Okay, interestingly, the store was located close to Interstate 70. It was also located less than a mile from Sylvia's Ceramics, where Mick was killed. Police noticed several similarities between Billy's murder and the others. They also noted that his killer resembled the composite sketch of the I-70 killer. Police believe that the killer most likely lived and worked in the Terre Haute area around the time of the murder. Tips led Terre Haute police to a suspect in Billy's case. Several people who knew the suspect said that he matched the man in the video. The suspect was questioned by police. He said he worked for a large department store and traveled the country doing remodeling jobs for them. He also said that he had been in Terre Haute in 2001 when Billy's murder took place. However, authorities felt that he did not have enough evidence to connect him, or that they did not have enough evidence to connect him to Billy's murder or the I-70 cases. Also, they have yet to confirm his murder is connected to the others. His killer is described as a white male, about 5'8" to 6 feet tall, with a medium build and thinning hair. He may have been wearing a wedding ring. In November 2021, authorities from Indianapolis, Wichita, Terre Haute, and St. Charles and Raytown, holy hell, met together in St. Charles to review the cases. Federal authorities were also involved in the meeting. In February 2022, all of the agencies involved in the investigation sent away pieces of evidence for DNA testing. In Mick's case, they sent the pants he was wearing when he was killed. It is believed the killer touched his pants pocket when he grabbed his wallet. In the Magers Smith case, they sent a wedding veil, which the killer apparently used to hold his gun. Today, the killer would most likely be in his 50s or 60s. His hair may now be gray. A $25,000 reward is being offered in this case. Sadly, several relatives of the victims have passed away without seeing the case solved, including Sarah's husband, or Sonny. Sarah's husband, Sonny, sorry. Patricia Smith's father, Bob Trendle, and both of Mick's parents. Oh, wow. That was a lot to cover right there, ladies and gentlemen. That was just basically kind of like the results. You know, that wasn't the case itself. That was just the results. And that took quite a while to basically to cover. But when I return, I'm just going to get something quick to drink. When I return, I'll be doing the Find a Grave. So stay tuned and I'll be right back. Okay, so we are at the Find a Grave for the victims of the I-70 killer. This has a total of 8 memorials. Due to just the sheer amount of victims here, I'm not going to do like a deep dive into every person. I'm just going to kind of show their, go just do a general surface level observation. So, the first one here, I'm going to have to do this. There we go. The first one we're going to start off with is Sarah Hart Blessing. She was born March 3rd, 1955 in Topeka, Kansas. Sadly, she was murdered on May 7th, 1992. She was only 37 years of age. Location was Raytown, Missouri, USA. She was buried at the Zion Cemetery. Location is in Watson, Kansas, USA. And here are some photos. Like I said, it's just kind of upsetting because of the fact, like I said, there are actual criminals that serial killers could kill, but no, they're going to kill the good people. It's like really, why don't you, if you want to kill people, why not kill other killers? Why not kill drug dealers and stuff, Why kill innocent people that literally did you no harm, Okay, so for her family members, she has Clarence Hart for her father and Wilma Hart for her mother. Okay, so next we have Robin Fuldauer. Date of birth was December 16th, 1965 in Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's just zoom in a little bit. There we go. Date of death was April 8th, 1992. She was only 26 years of age. She was buried at the Indianapolis Hebrew Congregation Cemetery North in Westfield, Indiana, and the plot is section N, row 4, GS3. I don't know what the GS means, but okay, let's look at some of her photos. Here's a picture. I think this was from Unsolved Mysteries itself. Here's her final resting place. I don't know what that is. Let's see. Can I zoom in? Can't zoom in. It looks like it could be. Oh, I can go this way. Oh, wait. Okay, well. It's a certificate of death. Okay. And that was Robin Sarah Fuldauer. Her parents was Elliot Norman Fuldauer, 1929 to 1992, and Carol Lucas Stark from 1933 to 2016. Close this one also. Oh no, actually I'll leave that one open. Next up we have Mary Ann Thacker Glasscock. Date of birth was January 14th, 1942. Location was Granite, Oklahoma, USA. Day of death was September 25th, 1993. I want to go on record and say I was wrong. I originally thought that everybody sadly was younger than me. I think this was one of the ones that was kind of in question, if I remember correctly, though. But yeah, this is in Texas. Fort Worth. Well, her date of death was September 25th, 1993, in Fort Worth, Texas. Location burial was at Rose Hill Cemetery in Ardmore, Oklahoma, USA. I like the house. At the bottom it says she loved music. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. Let me just make sure everything. Okay. Up next, we have Nancy Kitzmiller. Come on. Thank you. Date of birth for Nancy was September 25th, 1967 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Date of death was May 3rd, 1992 in St. Charles, Missouri. She was buried at the Rose Hill Burial Park in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. It really is kind of jarring, because you expect that you're just going to go to work, you're going to do your normal thing, go to work, you earn your money, and then you figure you're just automatically going to come home, and that'll be it for the end of the day. And that really doesn't always work out for everybody. It's just it's kind of jarring, I guess you could say. Oh, they don't have anything here for her family, which is kind of sad. Oop. Up next, we have the first of the two Patricias. This one is Patricia Magers. And that still really gets me. It's like, what would the odds be? Not only, that you have two people with the same first name, and sadly they were both, killed and everything. That I have never once had a job where there was like another Jeff, I remember when I was going to school, Jeff was so freaking common. There was one time there was in one of my classes in high school, we had 4 Jeffs. To me, that was unique. I never actually worked a job where there was another Jeff in the vicinity of where I worked. Date of birth for Patricia Magers was June 18th, 1959 in Wichita, Kansas. Date of death was April 11th, 1992. Basically same location. She was buried at the Calvary Cemetery in Wichita, Kansas. I have to admit, this is like one of the more elaborate tombstones I've ever seen. I actually like that. Her parents was Alfred Strood, 1924 to 2014. And then her mom was Dorothy Strood, 1927 to 2007. Up next, we have Michael McCown. Date of birth was December 29th, 1950. Or date of birth, sorry. Did I say birth or death? I can't recall. I'm getting a little bit tired here. Date of birth was December 29th, 1951 in Terre Haute, Indiana. Date of death was April 27th, 1992 in Terre Haute, Indiana. He was buried at Roselawn Memorial Park in Terre Haute, Indiana. He actually looks like a very nice guy, you know, like I said, the sad thing is the good people this planet seems to always just kind of devour. Must have been a yearbook photo. It had to be a yearbook photo, you know. Okay, there goes. You know, I'll be honest. I wish I had a full head of hair like that. Looks like he used to play in a band. Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, he was a guitarist. But back to what I was saying, it's kind of sad that the good people, you know, the people who actually had potential, they're the ones that get, you know, such a cruel end to their life. But the people who literally do not value their lives, they're allowed to, you know, do whatever they want to people. And it seems like they're allowed to just be allowed to walk the earth, you know. Oh, God, what's the name of that show? He reminds me of that picture right there. He reminds me of Morton Downey Jr. Do you know who Morton Downey Jr. is? Here, let's do a quick look. Morton Downey Jr. Oh, come on. You can't tell me you don't see a similarity there between that and that. I'm not saying it's like a bad thing or anything. I'm just saying he looks, you know, like that. You know, like. Ooh, that's a nice band photo. Kind of giving off a little bit of Def Leppard vibes right there. By the way, Def Leppard is an awesome band. I'm not saying that like as an insult or anything. I love the band Def Leppard. Up next, we have the second Patricia of the two Patricias. This is Patricia Smith. Date of birth, September 15th, 1968 in Wichita, Kansas. Date of death was the same day as the previous Patricia, April 11th, 1992. She was only 23. The sad thing is, in a couple years, I'm going to be double her age. That's sad. That, like I said, it's sad that people, you know, should, you know, a lot of these people didn't even get the midway point. You know, like. She was buried at Maple Grove Cemetery in Wichita, Kansas, Section R, Lot 286, Grave 1. Her parents were Robert William Bob Trendle and Evelyn Faye Stewart Trendle. Did you notice that this killer kind of targeted the most vulnerable of people? That's the thing about these killers. Serial killers are opportunistic little jackals, in my opinion. They don't have the courage to really go after people that could give a decent defense. They always tend to go after lone people that they feel that are significantly weaker than they are. And then finally we have Amy Vess. This is the one of the ones that was in Texas, if I remember correctly. Yep. She passed away in Dallas, Texas, but she was born June 30th, 1971. She's just barely 10 years older than I am. Date of birth was Irving, Texas. Date of death, November 2nd, 1993, 2 days before my birthday. Oh, jeez. In Dallas, Texas. Burial was at Oak Grove Memorial Gardens in Irving, Texas. The plot is Section Love Crypt SGL Sublot T Grave 21. And it really doesn't have any other information. But that was it for the I-70 killer victims. Like I said, it's kind of sad that the good people are always the ones that have to pay the price. Okay, up next, I'm not sure if I'm going to actually put this segment in this installment of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary. This is actually something I've been kind of thinking about doing. It's just kind of like a little tidbits segment, basically kind of giving off a little bit of information, because there are times, it's not often, but there are times that I will be asked, "Hey Jeff, what episode was this part of, or when was this recorded?" And I kind of give a little bit of the information, like when the episode, or like what episode it was and whatnot, when I'm going through the Wikipedia. But I thought, you know what? Let's do a little bit of a deeper dive into, the episode that this case was on. That way you can see like what other cases were part of this, this episode and whatnot. And it's basically kind of just a way to kind of, take a look behind the curtain, I guess you could say. So let's do this. Hold on, let me do this. But yeah, I don't want to really say I want it to be like something serious, but it's just something that like trivia or whatnot, I guess you could say. Okay, so we are still here. Hold on. There you go. We are here on the Unsolved Mysteries Wiki still. And as I originally said before, this case was actually originally recorded or part of the May 4th, 1994 episode of Unsolved Mysteries. Now, people are like wondering, well, like what was on that episode? And I would say that this was kind of like on the outskirts of the popularity of Unsolved Mysteries. To me, I will go and say that I believe the first 2 or 3 seasons were like the best when it came to Unsolved Mysteries, and then it was like a little bit of a slow decline. And in 1994, this was kind of like that slow decline. This was before the bottom went out of Unsolved Mysteries in 1998, 1999-ish, when Unsolved Mysteries was forced to go to CBS. At this time, they were still on NBC. They still had, like, I think this was when they were still on Wednesdays, which was like a prime viewing day. Friday, you would think that Friday would have been a good day for like Friday would have been a good day for Unsolved Mysteries because it's the beginning of the weekend. You can rest and everything. But here, let's just confirm though. Let's just do this. What day was May 4th, 1994? I think it was a Wednesday. Let's see here. Really, you can't just tell me like what day it was? Does it say here? Let's see. What day was? I think it was a Wednesday. Yep, Wednesday. May 4th, 1994 was a Wednesday. I don't know why they couldn't just give me the answer right there. But yeah, so it was a Wednesday, and they always viewed Wednesday as like the Wednesday was like the best day for primetime television back in the 90s, and everything. Okay, so, but yeah, back to what I was saying, though. This was, in that slow decline, wasn't at the point yet where we were, like, in a free fall in 98 and 99 when they were forced to go to CBS. Originally, Unsolved Mysteries used to be on Wednesdays, like I just said, and then they were moved to Friday, and they fluttered around there for a little bit. That's when they were then sent to CBS. Okay, so keep that in mind. So May 4th, 1994. Now you're wondering, there's actually a way you can find out like what cases was on that episode, and it's pretty easy. Just go to episodes and then find season 6 for this one. Season 6 dealt with 93 to 94. So, and then it was May 4th. So September 93. So we got to scroll down a little bit. We got to do some scrolling. Okay, so May 4th. Wow, look at that. Okay, so May 4th, it was actually episode 193. And when they say 193, I think that it's basically just like for, I don't think it was actually episode 193. I think it was more as a way for like a filing system. But I may be wrong. If you were curious about what cases were on this very episode of Unsolved Mysteries, here's what we had. We had they have it listed as a mystery, but it's basically classified as the unknown or the unexplained or something like that. After Death Visits, this dealt with John and Patty Eggleston and Paige Rourke. Now, these are cases I haven't covered yet. I will in the future. This one, I actually like this one if I remember. If it's the same one I think it is, it's about a couple boys who were living in an orphanage. And I think one of them was like an Irish boy. And basically he was, let's actually do a quick research. I think he was trying, this guy, I hate it when it does that. Oh, really? Come on. So basically Tom Vaughn, I think when he was sent to the orphanage or adoption center, or whatever you want to call it, it was a home for children, according to this. He was kind of like I think he suffered like he was really closed off. And a boy, let's see here. Does it say what his name was? It was Tom McGrady or something like that. After our Brendan left the orphanage, Tom was again. Oh, maybe it's Brendan. Tom Brendan. Okay, here it is. So it's, they had the same last names but different first names. It was Brandon Vaughn. That's who he was looking for. Basically, Brandon, if I remember, if this is the case, I think it is. Brendan, he was like an Irish boy, and he carried around like a piece of the Blarney Stone, Well, these two friends actually ended up getting reunited, and Brendan, he ended up actually being early to the meeting because he always liked to play tricks on Tom Vaughn when they were younger. So he decided to actually come earlier. And while Tom was waiting and looking for his friend, Brendan walked up behind him, if I remember correctly. It's actually quite a touching case, which, for me, I don't get that emotional, but this is one of those cases like, okay, my heart grew a couple inches that day, After that, we have the case of Kelly Finnegan. This was a wanted case, and I don't really recall this case. Let's see here. Can we? It's a woman. For some reason, when you hear cases of wanted people, you always think instantly male. But this case, it is about a woman. Her name was Kelly Finnegan. Her aliases are Robbie Golden, Kathleen Bennett, Kathy Marie Braun, Jamie Stewart, and Annette. She was wanted for robbery, burglary, theft, and poisoning. Wow. This woman seems like to be a real bad dude. She was missing since November 1993. Okay, I'm just curious. Let's scroll down because I don't want to read the whole case, but let's see here. That's why I don't recall, because it was excluded from the Film Rise release of the series. Now, when you see Film Rise, it's referring to YouTube, basically. It's the YouTube, what was uploaded to YouTube. This case first aired on the May 4th, 1994 episode. Okay, so apparently she was captured in June 1996. So this, let's do some quick research, shall we? Let's see if this case is on YouTube, because actually recently people have been uploading cases that are no longer part of the Film Rise uploads. People are uploading them to YouTube, so we may actually find it. Let's see here. One of the best examples, it is the Tallman House. That case you can actually find on YouTube. Okay. Let's see here. So, and her name is Kelly Finnegan. Unsolved Mysteries. Sometimes you may have to scroll down a little bit. It looks like this case may not actually be on YouTube at all. It could be that nobody ever recorded it. But normally, if you go down a little bit, normally it would actually be there. Let me do a quick. Kelly. Okay, let's see here. Okay, there. Okay, so there's one there, one there. Where's the last white rose? I'm not sure I see it. I'm not seeing the third instance. But sadly, it looks like this case is not part of the YouTube. It's not been uploaded to YouTube, which, who knows, maybe if give it time. People are, once people start realizing that certain cases are no longer on the Film Rise uploads of Unsolved Mysteries, odds are it will get uploaded to YouTube. Okay, so let's go back. So we looked at the case of Tom Vaughn and Kelly Finnegan. Okay, so this one, it is the case. This is a lost loves case. The father of Kathleen Belcher, basically Kathleen's mom had an affair with another guy. The guy who she thought was her father ended up needing a blood transfer fusion, if I remember correctly. And I come to find out Kathleen learned from her mom that the guy who she thought was her father was not her father. That it was actually a whole different guy. And if I remember correctly, I think that they ended up reuniting the father and daughter. Next up, we have the I-70 killer, which we just covered. And then this one, the East Stockton John Doe. Basically, this is a case about a person who, if I remember correctly, he fell from like a overpass of an interstate. He fell onto the ground under, below the overpass. He was, as of the recording of that episode, he was unknown. He had the nicknames of John Doe, Sir, and John. The location was Stockton, California, and the date was listed as September 24th, 1993. Thankfully, the case actually was solved. They actually solved the case. This sadly, this is another case that was excluded from the Film Rights release of Robert Stack episodes. It has similarities with a Daly City Man. Now let's go to Unsolved, back to YouTube. And then we will do, let's just check for East Stockton. Yeah. East Stockton John Doe Unsolved Mysteries. Okay. And like I said, sometimes it may not be here, and this looks like it could be one of those instances. All right, here's a video I made about a year ago. It always kind of makes me feel good that when I type in YouTube, Unsolved Mysteries, stuff that I do pops up, which is sad. It's actually sad because I really don't, as nice as it is to see my stuff, I would actually like to see other people's content. But there used to be a shit ton of people who used to make Unsolved Mysteries content. However, back I think it was 2010 to 2011-ish, there is what I call the Great Unsolved Mysteries Purge. It's basically where the creators of Unsolved Mysteries, and I think they had Viacom help them. And basically they went through YouTube and they just struck down everybody who even whereas say I do a lot of the stuff on Unsolved Mysteries, people may only use a 2 or 3 second clip, bam, 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 bam. And I think it scared a lot of people to the point that even though they are fans of Unsolved Mysteries, that basically they don't want to risk upsetting Viacom and Cosgrove Muir. So they're like, well, I like Unsolved Mysteries, but I don't want to get them upset. And I don't have that mentality. I don't have that mentality at all. Basically, I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it. I'll try to edit it as much as I can. But what upsets me is that Cosgrove and Muir have gone on record saying, we like our viewers. We appreciate our viewers. We like our viewers to interact with the show and try to help get these cases solved. The minute that somebody actually does try to show how much they like the show or do something like what I do, bam. And to me, that's fucking scummy. It's like, oh, we like our viewers, we like our fans, but they don't like you enough to allow you to make videos, cases, or whatever that helps possibly get these cases solved. And that drives me nuts. But yeah, I'm hoping that one of these days people will, make little commentary videos like what I do. Yeah, I don't see it here. Just so you guys do know, they actually do have a stream on YouTube for Unsolved Mysteries. When I am actually putting together these cases of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary, I'll actually have the stream playing on my third screen right here, or first screen technically. I have it on the first screen to the left, and I'll just be listening to that as I'm working on getting this ready. Okay, but that was it for the East Stockton John Doe. The case was thankfully solved due to privacy reasons. They never disclosed. Or no, maybe I'm thinking of the Daly City person. Here, hold on. Let's see here. Oh, maybe I'm thinking of the other one. Let's do Daly City, man. Oh, really? Arrived missing. Seizures. Oh, here it is. His name was withheld to protect his identity. So this is what I was kind of talking about. I thought it was for the East Stockton John Doe, but it was actually for the Daly City man. And then finally we have... Oh, that was the final one. Now, I'm going to compare this to what is uploaded for YouTube. Okay, so let's actually go back to YouTube. I should have just kept the tab open, but I did not, because sometimes I'm stupid like that. Now, on YouTube, this is listed as Season 6, Episode 21. And so, let's see, Unsolved Mysteries, Season 6, Episode 21. Which is, so basically, the misconception that a lot of people have regarding Unsolved Mysteries and YouTube. Here, let's do this. There. Here, let me actually mute my computer. That way I don't risk getting their ire. Hold on, how do I mute? Oh, there we go. There we go. The thing that a lot of people do not realize is that they try to act like, oh, what you see here, it is actually uploaded straight from like what you saw on television. And that is not true. That is not true. Here is what you get in this episode. Okay, I'm just going to kind of fast forward through a little bit. Actually, do they have a... Okay, so this is the death. Oh, the after death visits. Okay, this is Kathleen. This is Kathleen or whatever. Kathleen Belcher case. This is the one about. This is still part of the Kathleen Belcher case. Okay, then we go here. Okay, so this is the unexplained. This is the is this the... Oh yeah, this is the Patty Eggleston. So this is the after death visits. Let's just kind of scroll on. Okay, Paige Rourke. Okay. Okay, so we have the unexplained. Now, this is a case that was not part of what you saw here. Basically, remember, we have the after death visits, the Tom Vaughn case, the Kelly Finnegan case, Kathleen Belcher, Interstate 70 Killer, and East Stockton John Doe. They instead put in, and remember, they claim that this is like the uploads from what they showed on television, the exact episodes. This is Padre Pios. This is about a rather humble religious individual that I think that he had the power to help heal, if I remember correctly. And basically, it's just kind of talking about that. So basically, that's one of the major discrepancies between the televised and the film rise uploads. Okay, so Padre Pios. I think this is Padre Pios still. Yep, Padre Pios. Wow, this was actually a long segment. Okay, I'm just curious. Here, let's actually go. Let's actually go here. Padre Pio? I think that's Pio? Pio? Unsolved Mysteries. I think this was also removed from the film rise Unsolved Mysteries. Notes. Case first aired June. Oh, it doesn't say. It doesn't say. Okay. But yeah, so for some reason they took the Padre. They Padre Pio was not part of this episode, but if you go to YouTube, like I said before, it's basically it's there. Okay, this is the Kathleen Belcher case. And then then they basically kind of end this episode on YouTube with the I-70 killer, and then basically it just goes from there. And then after that it is, and then then they go to a preview for the next episode, which is the Boston Strangler case. Now let's take a look here real quick. So let's go to episode 194, and they actually do have the Boston Strangler. But going back to, episode 193, you can see that they took out, let's see here, they took out the Tom Vaughn case, the Kelly Finnegan. That I was really curious about that because I don't even remember Kelly Finnegan. And the East Stockton John Doe. They kept the after death visits, the Kathleen Belcher case, the I-70 case, and then they added Padre Pio. But yeah, so like I said, I just want to kind of show like how the televised NBC, the television release of Unsolved Mysteries is drastically different than what we see on YouTube. And the sad thing is they try to make it sound like, oh, what you see on YouTube, it's actually exactly what was on television, case for case, episode for episode. And it's not really like that at all. Okay, everybody, that is about it. I'm kind of upset about this case, mainly because of the fact that it's been 30 plus years that this guy killed people, and yet they've never been apprehended. Like the people who were killed deserve to have some sort of justice. And the fact is, I think honestly that the longer we go, the longer that this guy may never get apprehended if he's still alive. I think possibly he may either be dead or handicapped to the point he can't do anything. And if he is handicapped to the point he can't do anything, he's not going to say who he is. He's a killer. He's a coward, basically. They're not going to do what's right. No, they killed people and they're going to leave it at that. But that marks the end of another, installment of Unsolved Mysteries Commentary. Today I covered basically the I-70 killer. I talked about, like, where the killer went and all that stuff and who all the victims were. We learned some odds and ends. And I even did a new segment kind of comparing the Unsolved Mysteries televised viewing of this episode to what we got on YouTube. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go and get this ready to upload. This is actually a longer video. Holy cow, with the new segment and all that. This is actually going to be a rather long video. So, it's going to take some time to edit and get ready and everything. And I will, I'll get uploaded. But anyway. I hope you have taken it, that you have a great day. Remember, in 2 days, we're going to be having a whole new day. That's right. In 2 days, it will be New Year's Eve. Drink responsibly and make sure that you have fun with your friends and loved ones. I will see you next time. My name is Jeff, aka GCurse, wishing you all a great day. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.